Oh, you were in there longer than anybody.
I don't know how long other people have been in there.
We did.
They weren't in there.
You bring anybody?
Okay.
She's not bringing us
She's
in.
just here to visit.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so what did they ask you and what did you tell them?
They've made it perfectly clear, like I said before, that I'm not a target of investigation. I'm not a person of concern. I'm just a friendly witness. What I can say at this time is that there were some inappropriate conversations in the spring of 2009, and after that occurred, I went to the authorities, and I have been working with them from the beginning.
Inappropriate conversations regarding what?
There were just inappropriate conversations. I went to the authorities in spring of 2009, and I've been working with them on the investigation ever since.
So does this mean that the investigation kind of started based on the impetus of you having that conversation?
I don't know if I'm the beginning person, but I have been working with the authorities since the beginning.
So in spring of 2009, were those conversations about bingo?
They involve legislation.
Having to do with bingo?
They just involve legislation. I've said what I can say.
Scott, did these conversations involve lawmakers, or lobbyists, or both?
This was a conversation between myself and a lobbyist.
And that lobbyist was?
I'm not afraid to say.
Why? You can. I mean, they haven't limited you to conversation.
No, they haven't. But they have asked me to. They've asked me to try not to say anything that would hinder an investigation, and I'm going to do my best not to do that. I've said what I can. I've said, I've made mention of a timeline, and you'll have to take from that what you want.
Can you say if the nature of the conversation involved quid pro quo, an action by you in return for an action by them?
Not at that time.
Was it just one
that didn't happen at that time.
Just one lobbyist, more than one lobbyist?
The impetus behind me going to the authorities was with one lobbyist at the time.
At the time, since then, other lobbyists?
Has this lobbyist name been mentioned?
I don't want to say. I just want to make it clear to people that I have been working with the authorities since spring of 2009.
Has that included
and I've helped in the investigation any way I was asked.
Have you won a wire?
I've helped in the investigation any way I was asked.
Have you been wired?
I've helped in the investigation any way I was asked.
Scott,
I can only say so much because I do not want to hamper an investigation. I'm not going to, because the reason I'm involved in this is in an effort to end public corruption, if indeed that has occurred, and I'm not going to say anything that would hamper that investigation.
What about the conversation made you say, I need to go to authorities, this is wrong?
It was in context of some other things that I had overheard, or conversations I'd been in, and something was said that I thought was inappropriate at the time, and then I went to the authorities, and then that's where, at least for me, that's where it started.
Is your impression when you went to the authorities that this was the first that they were hearing of this, or that you were bringing them information that they were already that they had already heard?
My impression was that there was something already underway.
What authorities did you go to?
I spoke with the FBI.
Why not the state authorities at the state level?
I just seemed like the FBI would be the best place.
So you've been working with the FBI all along? And how often have you met with them since spring of 2009?
Multiple times.
Multiple means how many? A half dozen, a dozen?
I wouldn't be able to count.
Roughly a dozen times?
I wouldn't be able to count.
Did you go to them first, or they came to you?
I went to them.
Is that why you didn't say a whole lot when the bill was up in the Senate? You were unusually quiet when the bill was on the floor.
I don't know why I was quiet there. I had spoken out publicly numerous times. I'm probably the lead opponent in my part of the state, at least legislatively, against gambling, and always have been.
Representative Mask and Senator Coleman said that they would expect positive outcomes of this for the people of Alabama, end of pack transfers, stop on gambling. What do you think the outcome of all this would be?
Well, my hope is that what I see as a systematic problem in Alabama politics will come to an end. I hope that this public corruption probe helps us clean out the system so that people of Alabama can have some confidence in their elected officials and realize that everything is above board and being done the way they expect it to be done.
What is the systematic problem as you see it?
I just think there's a lot of undue influence that occurs in Montgomery, and I think what you're seeing this investigation entailing is just a symptom of what's happened.
Are you expecting indictments?
I couldn't say that. My role in this is to help in any way that I can. I want to make that clear to y'all and the people of Alabama that I'm helping in any way that I can because I just don't think public corruption can be tolerated.
Did your role include working with or recruiting or enlisting the aid of other lawmakers as part of your cooperation?
I wouldn't be able to comment.
Did other lawmakers cooperate as a part of what you were troubled?
I wouldn't be able to comment on that either. I can only comment on, I'm probably saying more than I should now.
The conversation that you overheard that troubled you, that started all of this in spring of 2009, was that conversation to a lawmaker?
Well, that conversation was between myself and someone else.
A lobbyist?
And a lobbyist, yes.
And that lobbyist was representing?
I can't comment.
You won't say, was it a gambling interest?
I can't comment.
Are you concerned that there will now be a lack of distrust among lawmakers when you all come back in the next session?
I don't know, because I think when legislators are dealing on the up and up and everything is above board as it should be, I don't see that things are necessarily going to change. I don't think there should be a problem on the legislative level at all. I don't know why they would distrust anyone based on what we've talked about here.
Were you made an offer, a campaign contribution offer for down the road?
I wouldn't be able to talk about that either.
I know you.
And maybe I'm being way overly sensitive about it.
Yeah, you are.
But I can't reinforce enough that I am not going to be responsible for derailing or fouling up an investigation into public corruption. I mean, I have spent an entire legislative career trying to battle the folks that I think are doing wrong in this state. And I'm not going to say something to pacify the press or anyone else that might hinder an investigation.
You've been here for